Hey everybody, Cheap Comic Collector here. This is episode number 131. And today we're going to be doing the giveaway wheel again. But before we do that, we're going to go through these comics that I've been reading. Life's been kind of rough around here lately, so I'm really glad I got this channel going because it's really the only bright spot in my life right now. So thanks to all of you for liking and watching and subscribing. I really appreciate it. And things will get better. Nothing major, just frustrations from life in general where people don't do what they're supposed to do. Anyway, first off, we've got Marvel Tales number 111 from 1980. It reprints the first appearance of Tarantula from Amazing Spider-Man 134. Take a second to appreciate that cool John Romita cover. And then the insides were written by Gary Conway. Artist was Ross Andrew. Frank Giacoya and David Hunt were the inkers. And this was a good issue. I mean, it's all the Amazing Spider-Mans from this time period were good issues. But this was a fun read. I'd read it before many years ago, probably. And it starts out with Spider-Man taking a trip out to the Statue of Liberty with some of his friends, Flash Thompson, Mary Jane, Liz Allen, and it's got a little bit of flashback to what was going on recently, where Aunt May was trying to marry Dr. Octopus or vice versa, and that blew up, and so on and so on. She fainted, and then he had fought the Molten Man, the reason I point this out is because I thought it was interesting that Roy Thomas, the editor, instead of referring you to the original printings of Amazing Spider-Man, which was probably what they did in the original issue, is he referred you to the previous issues of Marvel Tales. So I thought that was just interesting. I don't know why. But anyway, Tarantula and his minions appear and try to take over the boat. And they throw one of the crew members that tried to stop him overboard. So Spider-Man has to save him. And in so doing so, he misses the boat. So he has to run home. Basically, he's out of web fluid. So he has to try and hitch a ride. Nobody wants to pick him up. So he ends up just hopping on top of a semi and using that. Nice big Star Wars ad in the middle there. And so he goes home. He gets his web fluid before starting out again, and Harry Osborn sees him, so that's when he realizes that Peter Parker is Spider-Man and that he killed his father, which of course he didn't actually do, but that's what he thinks. And little bit of a sidebar with J. Jonah Jameson, and then Spider-Man back to the boat. Flash Thompson's trying to be a hero. He gets knocked out. Spider-Man shows back up, dropping from a helicopter of all things. And this was a neat Star Wars ad advertising a contest. And so they fight. Some nice panels. The Marvel style, Titan Comics. Bullpen bulletins, Human Torch, fruit pies ad. And then, so basically, Spider-Man gets tagged a couple times by tarantula spikes on his boots, and they got poison or something on him, so he's drugged and passing out. And then the Punisher shows up, and he's going to kill Spider-Man. And that's the end of the issue. There's also this neat Corgi ad for DC vehicles. Which, it's kind of neat just because it's in a Marvel comic. And then moving on, we've got Just Married from Charlton Comics, number 107 from 1975. So this is a series, and in case you you don't know about romance comics, because I didn't. This actually started out with a #1, so it went past 100 issues. Romance comics were popular at one point in time. This is the first time I've ever actually read one, I believe. I can't swear to it, but I think this is the first time I actually sat down and read a romance comic. I don't have very many of them. I have 2 or 3. And so the first story is, they're very much, at least this one is, excuse me, it's very much written kind of like an Archie comic, to be honest, except dramatically instead of humorous, although it does have some humor in it. So anyway, first one's titled Lonely Wife. And yeah, they just got married. The title is just Married, so these are all pretty much about new brides. And she marries a trucker, and he's gone a lot, so she's lonely, and she gets lonely, and she gets lonely. And then the uncle gets her to take a course to surprise her husband. And so now she's a truck driver too, so now they can go together and be on the road together. So nice little ending. Then there's just one page, and these are interesting because these are basically the same as an Archie gag, except they're drawn, in a more realistic style. So so this lady's complaining about the price of everything, how things are going up. Her husband wants to see something that goes down because the prices are going up on everything, food, clothing, etc., etc. And he told me he'd like to just one thing that's going down. And the guy says, "Why don't you show him your grades?" So very typical, like an Archie gag, but like I said, drawn in a more dramatic style for some reason. And of course, this is Charlton, not Archie. So, and then the next story, it's actually signed down here, Nicholas Lassia or something. I don't know. I did glance at the credits on GDC for this, and I didn't recognize anybody. So nobody I know of. The art's obviously very well done. And this one's entitled He's Mine. And so he marries, this girl gets married, but her husband is still full-on flirting with all the country club chicks that he knows, and they're coming on to him all the time and stuff. So she decides to lay down the law and basically refuses to go to the country club party with him, but then shows up anyway with somebody else that she met outside. That's an old friend, and makes him jealous. And then that's pretty much the end. They get back together. So, and then this one is entitled Mannequins, and it's another gag page. And basically, they're talking, and this guy asks this girl to a lecture, and she says, "I'd love to, but why ask me to go when with you to the lecture, you always said I wasn't too bright. And in this case, you'd be just the person to take. The lecture is on mannequins, and they told me to bring a dummy." So there you go. So, and then the last story, I think this is the last one, is called Apron Strings, and this new bride can't get rid of the mother-in-law. And there's a cool Charlton ad here, subscription blank, with the Charlton Bullseye featured with Blue Beetle. And that's pretty much the only house ad. There was a tampons ad earlier, which I really didn't think that I'd ever see a tampons ad in a comic book, but there it is. So anyway, what's going on? Oh yeah, the mother is basically over all the time and manipulating her son's time, and the family and they go to all the family events, and the girl's sick of it. She never spends time with her husband. There's always somebody else there, blah 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 blah. So she eventually lays down the law, and he decides to spend time with her, and is ignoring his family and stuff. And then she realizes that it's boring without them. so they start going to they make up and they start going to all the family events again. So, and then there's something called Buck's Bag. Buck Mason is supposedly some kind of specialist in teenage problems. So you write into him with your problems, and he will solve them for you. So, actually wasn't that bad. I didn't expect to like it, but it was okay. I didn't mind it. I mean, it's not something I would buy because I'm not a girl, but the artwork was decent. The gags were kind of funny, and the not really what I expected. I expected it to be, I guess, more soap opera instead of a straightforward story. And then Uncle Scrooge 157 from 1978. It's got a new cover by Tony Strobel. Nice little gag there of him using a swordfish to pick a chest under the sea. And this is all reprints in this issue, but most of them are ones I hadn't read before. The first one is written by Vic Lockman and with art by Tony Strobel. And I don't usually like the Vic Lockman stories because I'm used to seeing his later work. This was actually a pretty decent story. Uncle Scrooge is trying to get rid of this cat. It's constantly meowing outside of his office. He doesn't know why the cat won't leave him alone, and the cat keeps coming back. And so the secretary's been keeping track of how much money he's spending trying to get rid of this cat. So he goes into his worry pacing and decides to send the cat as a gift to this guy in another country as a way to get rid of it and to make a profit, because their culture is they have to send a gift back. So Casper ad for fruit pies with a Pac-Man type alien. And so the guy sends him back an elephant. And the elephant won't eat hay. He only eats the imported avocados that this guy sells out of his country. So Uncle Scrooge has to order a crate of these expensive imported avocados for the elephant to eat. And it doesn't do him any good to give it to the zoo because he owns the zoo. So, so they're stuck, and he gets the idea from Daisy Duck of letting the elephant eat all the avocados at once so that it will get sick and tired of eating them, and so it'll want to eat something else. So he does that, and the cat's actually in the crate with the avocados, so he gets the cat back. And but then he finds out that the reason the cat is hanging out is because there's mice in his money bin chewing out his greenbacks. So he keeps the cat, and the elephant will no longer eat avocados. He wants to eat hay now, so everything's good. But so it was amusing. It wasn't Karl Barks, but it was amusing. It was a decent story. So I have a new respect for a little bit for Vic Lockman. He can write a good story when he put his mind to it instead of just being silly. Second story, also drawn by Tony Strobel. DDC did not have a writer credit for it, but I'm guessing it's a Vic Lockman story because it seems like it is, and it was originally printed in like the next issue after the first story was printed in. So Everybody's Got a Whistle is the title, and Uncle Scrooge rewards his janitor with a raise because his whistling a song reminds him of some pleasant memories. And the computer makes some mistakes and gives the guy $1 million instead of the $1 raise he was supposed to get. And so the guy basically runs out on his job and is going around spending money, and Uncle Scrooge chasing him down, trying to explain to him that it was all a mistake. And they're out to sea. Scrooge crashes his helicopter into an island, and the rotary blades dig up a buried treasure. So all's good. The janitor gets to keep his $1 million because Uncle Scrooge made it a huge profit off of the treasure he dug up. But now everybody's whistling at Scrooge McDuck everywhere he goes because they want them to reward him. So then we have the CBS lineup from whatever the year this was, 1978, I think I said. Yep. So we got Popeye, Bugs Bunny, Roadrunner, the Super 7, which I barely remember. I don't think I watched the Super 7. I think I tried ISIS and wasn't a fan. But I remember watching like Fat Albert. I remember watching Arc 2 a little bit. And of course I definitely remember watching the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner show, but that was probably on every network at one time or another. So then we have Uncle Scrooge, Two-Way Luck, this is a reprinted Karl Barks story. And what was this one is about? Oh yeah, Donald Duck convinces Uncle Scrooge to enter a emerald contest of who has the biggest emerald. And it's Friday the 13th, so Uncle Scrooge doesn't want to, but he gets tucked into it. And things go badly wrong throughout. And they end up in a place where these giant emeralds are supposed to come from. And they're all just, so they think they found this great big treasure. And he pokes them and they tries to haul one out. And then they all start coming down and it turns out they're just like big glass bubbles that break. But then there's one big one that's real. So he ends up winning the contest. It's fun. It's a short story by Karl Barks, and it's cool. It's fun. You got an ad for your Disney favorites in Gold Key and Whitman Comics. I thought that was kind of interesting that they put out they had both brands in the same ad instead of just altering it for whichever version it was in. You got a Mickey Mouse text story reprinted from Uncle Scrooge 31, and an Uncle Scrooge one-page gag where he gets scammed by a bookseller and then gets even with him to get his money back. And that was it. Good stuff. And then Convergence, the question. And the question is, did I like this or not? I didn't expect to because I'm not a fan of the question. Batwoman's in it. Not a fan of Batwoman. Huntress is in it. I'm a little bit of a fan of the Huntress because she comes from Earth 2. And she's got that history. But I did like it. Wasn't expecting to. It was a decent story. You've got, let's see, story by Greg Rucka, art by Cully Hamner. So, art wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was kind of borderline of a style that I don't care for. But this is Two-Face. And he actually made the story for me because he wants to kill himself. But he can't because the coin keeps coming up on the right side. So, they've been trapped under the dome for so long. And so he's basically going nuts. And he can't get the coin to come up on the bad side. It hasn't done it for over a year, ever since the dome came up. So he's going nuts. And interacts with the question a little bit. She's actually basically robbing a pharmacy with his help in order to get drugs for her dad who's in the hospital and some other patients because everything's in short supply, because they're trapped under the dome. And so you get interactions with Huntress, and then Two-Face is trying to kill himself. The question basically takes his coin away and flips it, and it always comes out the correct way. And then the dome comes down. And the challenge is issued. So Two-Face wants to find his alternate self. Not to kill him. The question thinks it's to kill him, but he actually wants the other guy to kill him. Because he wants to die. So that was pretty much the end of that issue. Batwoman shows up right at the end. And that goes into the second issue where the Question's dad is dying. And this is the female Question, by the way. That was probably pretty obvious, but in case it wasn't. And so this was actually a decent story. The only part I didn't care for is the the characters are gay, and I'm not into that, and so that bothers me a little bit. Doesn't bother me too much with Batwoman and the female Question because those are characters that I'm not familiar with. They didn't change them in order. They created new characters in order to do that. They didn't take an existing character like Iceman or Alan Scott or Robin, Tim Drake, and just all of a sudden out of nowhere decide that they were gay. So that's what I don't like. I don't like, if you want to do that, fine. If you want to create those kind of stories, fine. But do it with your own characters. So I didn't mind it. Other than that, I enjoyed the story. It was good. It was well written. And at the end, the Question's dad dies. That's the only really sucky part about this issue. Because it basically ends on a bummer, a sad note. And it's not like there's another issue where you say, okay, life goes on. And it's like, no, this is the end. There's only a 2-issue miniseries. So why are you ending so many of these Convergence miniseries on a depressing note instead of having them uplifting a little bit? But anyway, that's what they did. So favorites. I'm gonna go with Marvel Tales, the reprint of Spider-Man. First appearance of Tarantula. Second was Convergence, then Uncle Scrooge, and then Just Married. Just because Just Married, it's not my cup of tea. I'm a guy, and but they were all good. They were all decent reads, so wasn't disappointed in any of them. And that's pretty much it. Let's get to the giveaway. And hold on, I just got to log back in there because it logged me out to my laptop. There we are. All right, so we've only got 4 people left before we finally get through this giveaway and get onto the trading program. So we are going to just give it a spin. Who we got left? We got Dean, James, Adventurous Joe, and Brian McPhee. So here we go, guys. And blue looks like it's going to be Dean. So, Dean, come on down. What did you win? Dean Wade Welch. All right, so quite a few of your list are gone already, but we do have Justice League of America 134. There it is, because we had 2 copies of that, so one already went out, but we've got that one up for you as well. And then Action Comics 36. So I'm assuming that's a new 52 one. Yep. Atari Force number 2. Good choice. I approve. That's a great cover. And Night Mask number 1. All right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 issues. So I owe you 6 more. Let's see what we can find. Let's see. You liked the new 52 actions. Do I have? These aren't in any particular order. They're just in a box. I haven't actually gone through any of these yet. Let's see. Did he get any Marvel? He got Night Mask, but that's kind of an independent, not exactly a Marvel, so he's mostly into DC. That's, there's one, JLA 119. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, here's a Marvel login. Uncanny X-Men with the hologram. So Uncanny X-Men 304. Nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Need 4 more. Let's see. Secret Origins, number 32. And what's this? Shadow Man, 0 issue with a nice metallic cover. And Green Arrow, Black Canary, number 7. So is that enough? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nope, one more. One more. Oh, there's Arion, Lord of Atlantis, number 1. I'll give him that one. I'm probably giving away all my good traders, but oh well. First things first, and I have a lot of more doubles coming in. All right, so those are going to Dean or Wade. I don't know which. He sent me both names, so it's a little confusing on which name he's using today. And thanks for watching, guys. Tomorrow, we're going to do another short box video. And we'll see you then. Thanks.